This is the Rebel Scum Podcast. Available in video on YouTube and audio wherever you listen to your podcasts. Every week, Brock and James talk the latest rumors, news, and theories from a galaxy far, far away. Support us on Patreon for exclusive offers and join the Star Wars discussion. Patreon.com/RebelScum Here, host Brock and James.
Boom! Rebel Scum Podcast, episode 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom! In the right spot. I'm Brock. This is
James.
What's up, James? How are you doing?
Oh, you know, I don't think it's my internet. I think it's my computer because it is a disaster right now. But how you doing?
I'm doing great. We're back. You're back from vacation. There's nothing really big. I don't know. Is there anything big to talk about Star Wars? I'm like,
No,
there's nothing on right now.
And there's not going to be anything on. Hey, oh.
Perfect. And it's just me again. What's up, everybody? So, Star Wars has cut James. So we have no James anymore. That's fine. It's just the Brock Rebel Scum podcast. So it's always great because I make the rundowns for the show and I always know exactly what we're going to talk about. So yeah, we'll just wait for James to come back. I think he's gone. He might be just backstage laughing at me. Who knows? This is the best. What are we talking about today? Pulling up that rundown of a show that we got going on. Perfect. I'll just talk at the chat because what am I going to talk about without my other co-host here? This is the best. Disney Desi's here, Heidi's here, Skywalker's Academy is here, and they're all saying hello to each other. And I'm just like here in a void, doing nothing. What fun. Let's text James, see where he's at. Oh, man. I love it. Love it's the best. I'm so glad this. Thank God. Thank God.
Anything to work on this laptop. I'm going to switch to my phone.
This is fantastic.
So
This is our YouTube short. This is our YouTube short for this week. Can't wait. Disney Desi says, if you don't have anything else to talk about, you can help me decide if I should take my son to his best friend's or his girlfriend's birthday party. Aren't your sons like 6 and 7? The heck? Kids today, am I right? All right, you back? Are you hearing me?
You know, we'll see what happens. I have not heard anything that's going on. How old is he? A chat room turns its lonely eyes to you. You know what? I had toast in the toaster, Brock, so I faked horrible internet so I could go deal with my toast.
Disney Desi says, my 4-year-old son has been with his girlfriend for over a year. I mean, that's serious. Like at that age, you can't be messing around. So like, you got to find out your priorities. It's either your boys or your lady. I don't know. So, anyways, James, what are we talking about today? God, it's just me again. All right, we're back on girlfriend talk. Disney Daddy says, "I know that sounds wild, but it's true." Heidi chiming in, "Oh, good, 4-year-old has more of a dating social life than I do." Hey, we just live in this world. It's fine. Well, and Disney Daddy's saying he would rather. Oh, thank God. Oh God, can you hear me now, James? Can we talk about Star Wars now? This is fantastic. There you go. There we go. I can hear you now.
Yeah, but how come it's not, oh, there we go. Okay. Up to the thing. Mute that
There we
there.
go.
Hey!
All right. All right. So what are we talking about today, James?
Hold on. We're talking Star Wars is so I've been gone for a few weeks, and I've kind of like not really been paying close attention to what's going on in Star Wars so much. But I did see like people were talking how apparently now they're like saying only one new Star Wars show per year on Disney Plus, like one more. So, and I think I know what you're going to say, but my opinion on this, Brock, is who the hell cares? We got Acolyte. Okay, so I don't know if animation is included in this though, because we had Bad Batch, sure, but then we had Acolyte, and then we're getting Skeleton Crew in like December 3rd or 6th. So basically, we're getting one a year anyway.
Yeah.
Live action. So I don't really know who cares. But my whole thing is sure do that, but also make the shows good. If you make the shows good, you could have a 400 bazillion of them if you want. So just make them good. But I don't know. I'm old, so I don't really know what else other opinion to have on that. But I'm okay with one a year. I don't. We used to get that with Mando.
Yeah. I mean, there is no precedent. They can set whatever they want to set because, like, up until what 6 years ago, we didn't have any Star Wars TV shows. So here we are. So I don't know. Like, I don't understand why even pull back. It's not like they're oversaturating the market with Star Wars programs. And it's like, I don't know if you noticed, the Star Wars fans don't like anything. So it's like, yeah, who cares?
No. A girlfriend party at 12 o'clock and a BFF party at 12:30. What happens when I leave the chat? What happens?
Yeah.
So how you been, Brock?
Oh my God. This is fantastic.
So I don't know what happened, but it's not my internet because I'm working at my using my internet right now.
Right.
So it's my computer, and I don't know what's going on, but
Yeah. I can hear you. It's fine. It's fine. You can hear me.
I can't turn down the volume because it's underneath my phone, like my phone's sideways, so I can't touch the volume.
Sure.
So my ears will bleed by the end of this, but it's better than not being able to hear you. How would that?
Oh boy. While you were gone, I did see an article where Amanda Stenberg finally commented on the reception of Acolyte, and she's like, this sort of was. I'm not overly surprised that the show's canceled because there was already hatred for the show before they even started making the show, or like before they even put the show out. So she's like, yeah, not surprised. Nobody really wanted to watch this because they weren't happy to watch it anyway. So it's like, yeah, I don't understand. Like, are we giving in to trolls on the internet? because like you have like Disney Plus has a platform, just put Star Wars shows on it, like crying out loud.
It was canceled because nobody watched it. Ratings were bad. They came out and said the ratings were bad. That's why it was canceled.
I know that, James, but Amanda Stanberg's like, I'm not shocked because people didn't want to watch this before it was made. That like there was already hatred on the internet for it. That she was like, it sucks because they worked hard on the show.
People hate all of this stuff with Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think if the show was good, it wouldn't be canceled. People would have watched it. And people came out to watch the first couple of episodes, and then episode 3 happened, and everybody goes, I don't know what's happening.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, so they're not going to make any Star Wars shows, so...
No, I know what you're saying, but I just don't agree with it. I think there's an excuse for people didn't like it. Like, it just wasn't a great show, I don't think. And then people didn't want to watch it. I don't know. I mean, I think that's what... Anyway, I think there's... I don't think it has anything to do with... I mean, if the people didn't want to watch it, they weren't going to watch it anyway. But there's other shows they haven't wanted to watch, and they still watch them. So I get good ratings. So I don't think there's enough trolls on the internet to make as they were for the Acolyte.
Well, either way, we're getting one show of Star Wars a year, so like it doesn't even fucking matter anymore because it's just like...
We're gonna get one because they said that about movies too, and now we're getting 2 movies a year next year.
Yeah, we'll see.
So like everything they say about Star Wars is useless. Like they promise us shows that never happen, movies with directors that don't happen. 1 movie a year. That like right away they're like 2 movies in they say 1 movie a year, and then the first year they make a movie, there's 2 movies coming out. So I just don't buy anything anyone at the executive levels of Disney and Lucasfilm have to say about Star Wars anymore, because they seem to just it's like whatever way the wind's blowing, they're gonna go, and that's how it feels right now. So right now we're getting 1 a year, but until we get 2.
And then Skeleton Crew is a massive success, and they're like, okay, we'll have like 5 in 2026.
I just think I don't know. I think Acolyte, if they would have something along closer along those lines, I don't know. I just think they were like, it's a murder mystery, but there was no mystery. There were murders, but there was no mystery. They told you the answer right away. So I don't know. I just think they make it good. I don't have a problem with the 8-episode whatever, just make it episodic. Don't make it one long. Like if you're gonna just make a movie. If you really just want to, Acolyte would have been a lot better had it been a movie. And I think that's true of Mando season 3, Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi. Had since the second season of Mando, it would have been stronger as just one movie, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever you want to make it. So I think that's the problem, is they're cutting up movies into 8 parts, and it's getting tiring.
I don't know. Meanwhile, I saw in the last 2 weeks Twisters, Beetlejuice 2. I'm like, these movies didn't need to exist, but they were fun, and they were like under 2 hours. I was like, fantastic. We got another Twisters before we got any more Star Wars movies. I'm like, fantastic.
Even a bad movie, you're like, this is fine. This is totally enjoyable. It's like, you're like, this is fine and totally enjoyable, and that's great. How was Beetlejuice Part 2? Juicier.
It's just like, it's exactly what you think it would be, and I'll be like, cool. Didn't really Beetlejuice didn't really need a second one, but like that looked like they were having a good time, so it works.
It comes out on digital and streaming and DVD in October. So
makes sense.
Why didn't they release anyway? Whatever. That's this movie per year after this, by the way. Just
yeah.
Money, but people love. How did you? When I was a kid, I got into Beetlejuice from the cartoon. I was obsessed with
exactly.
Yeah, I didn't. My cousin was obsessed with the movie, and I didn't even watch. I don't think I watched it till I was older, like a teenager or
same.
college or something. Yeah, I love the cartoon. No, I have no problem with Star Wars going down to one show a year. Make it a good show, and one, two, and then Book of Boba Fett. I think Book of Boba Fett was like New Year's Eve or December 30th. Like it was at the end of the year. So it was almost like we waited a year anyway for that. And then I don't think we got another show that year. And if it was later on. So, but again, like you said, if Skeleton Crew is a massive hit, they're totally going to be like, make them all, and they all have to be practical effects, and they all have to be then, and that's what's going to happen. It's because it's a follow.
Yeah, no, it's all of this seems like pointless news. I'm like, who cares? Who cares? Like, you're gonna slap that Star Wars logo on anything, you're gonna make money on it. It's just in a world where it has to make like $1 billion, it's like, well, you're never gonna like stack up.
Mando Grogu movie is perfect. The Mando Grogu movie is going to cost less than the Acolyte show. That's the problem. That's the biggest thing that no one's talking about. The Acolyte. They spent $180 million on a TV show. It's just like you're burning money. Andor was 200 and something million. For what? If people aren't going to subscribe for these shows, it doesn't make any sense how much money they're spending on these things. I don't give me a piece, Brock. Give you a piece. Star Wars show that will.
You're gonna have to say the last part again. I didn't hear it.
Star Wars show that's spectacular if we each get.
Yeah, I mean, sure. It's just funny. It's like they're trying to play it safe, but it's just like then put out a 4th season of Mandalorian. I know there's a movie and all that jazz coming out, but like, why not? Why not make another season of it? Like,
I want to know a few things. I want to know who made that decision.
Yeah.
Right. Like instead of a 4th season, you're going to do a movie. The Acolyte, it has to be 8 episodes, and we can only give you 30. Like how? Like what is the process when they do it? Like did Headland go in and be like, I want to make this show, and they're like, okay, you can make the show. We'll give you a ton of money, but it has to be 8 episodes, and each episode has like, is there a mandate on all that stuff, or can they do whatever they want? Like I'm just curious what that is because like these decisions are weird. What was that? Oh, the new Lord of the Rings show's out. Have you seen the new Lord of the Rings show? Yeah. You talked about it on our last podcast how those episodes were long. Are they still long?
Oh yeah. Like rewatching the first season, I was like, I like this show, but it's just too much, and it's not not in a terrible sense. It's just sort of like there's a lot of detail. It's Lord of the Rings. It's just like like the Kevin Smith joke of like it's like 80% walking, right? It's just like it's just sort of like if you're not into that, it gets like the characters are likable and stuff. But rewatching the first season, I was like, wow. And then watching this new season, which they put out 3 episodes, which was like, why? Like you've sold people on this, maybe 2, but like just put out 1. Like you've greenlit this to make a second season. Just take your time. It's not gonna matter because most people are gonna watch this in a couple weeks when there's more episodes massed up. So it's just sort of like, but again, those episodes are all like over an hour long. They're good when they're new. You're like, oh, I'm in, like, because it's like you're seeing everything new. So it's like, I mean, but again, that's my opinion and I don't mind these shows. That being said, I have not finished House of Dragons season 2 because I'm just sort of like, there's nothing happening in this show. I don't know. That's my opinion. Come at me.
The season 2 of the Rings yet. I'm going to. I like the first season. They were long, but it's totally like you said. I saw the times for the Penguin show, the Penguin TV show, and there's like it's like an hour, 50 minutes, hour. The second last episode is 46 minutes. So I mean, we haven't seen that show. I have no idea if those times work or not. But I'm just curious, like how they've mandated the times on these shows and why they have. Because I like we've talked about it, and I really believe that it doesn't matter how long your episodes are. that you can, just use your time wisely. And I don't think they have, and I'm wondering why. Like, why? How? Like, I just can't figure out why it has to work. Why? Because I've watched some other shows, not just the ones that I've mentioned in the past, but some other stuff lately, just to see. And I'm like, oh yeah, they did a whole thing in 21 minutes and 30 seconds because of commercial. It's like, how come we can't get that on streaming where there's no commercial breaks? They have all the time in the world to do it, and it feels incomplete. And I always go back to Ahsoka, where Ahsoka was the most incomplete series. What? And then and look, you could be like, well, they're going into season 2. Fine. But we were never promised a season 2 when it started. It wasn't like this is part 1. It was like this is a season of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like the Acolyte for me, it kind of felt like the storylines wrapped up at the end. Like I felt like it ended, but
Yeah.
it ended where I wanted it to start. That's why I'm like, I would be in for a second season of Acolyte because you ended it where I thought it was where I wanted it to begin from. This is what I want. So so I thought the episodes ended short a lot of times in Acolyte, but I thought the series itself, I think it did wrap up. I know that like it obviously ended with a cliffhanger or whatever, but those are who cares. But it ended at the most interesting part of the entire series.
When you think about it, it's like it has the vibe of like Solo, the Solo movie, where it's like, we had to start from scratch, and this is the best we can make this work. So it's sort of like, because like like in the last episode, you're like, is that Plagueis? Who is that person? Like it's just in the middle of the episode, and then it's just like, well, like that's pretty presumptuous that you're gonna get a second season to explain who this is. Like that show episode would have been totally the same if you didn't put in like a hand coming over. Like it doesn't. You don't even have to delete the scene. The rest of the scene can happen. It's like, so it's just sort of like, why are we doing this? I don't even know where I was trying to go with that point, but like, Solo had those moments too, I guess, where it just sort of like, wait, why does what's his Bob Bettany never leave this one set? It's like, oh right, you had him for one day because you had to chug a whole bunch of months into 1 month or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like it just sort of like, this is like, I almost curious if the Acolyte was stalled somehow and they just had to make it work. I don't know if that is a thing.
I don't know either, and I would say like as you started that, I would say no. But then if you remember, it was announced like 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Was that? But if what you're saying it kind of adds up, like maybe they had to change what they were doing. Maybe this wasn't exactly the plan. Maybe they were. I don't know, and that
Yeah.
I don't want to make excuses for anything, but like maybe they were like, no, do this and this, and things were changed and shifted around, and they didn't have full control over what they wanted because the original told was it was, and then it was going to be like the Padawan and her former master trying to find out who was murdering these Jedi.
That's true.
It kind of is that, but it's not. It was never. It never.
No,
Really
it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't like it was like they were like together and they're like, oh, what happened? But then it's just like, oh, I killed them. Like, oh, so you were never on this journey with me. The journey was to getting to this conversation. That's what all was.
You might. You were doing one thing, and somebody sent them a little note and said, actually, do this or try to do this or something. I don't know what it would have been. I don't know. But it seems like there's a lot of meddling going on. Like J.J. Abrams, I think, had problem with meddling, and Ryan Johnson didn't, I believe. But a lot of the other ones, like obviously Solo, like you said, that had there was a huge thing happening there. Rogue One, Gareth Edwards was like kicked off of the boat. Andor, I guess, didn't have much, but yeah, there seems to be too many cooks in the kitchen over at Lucasfilm.
Yeah. Sounds like it's just not being proactive; it's just reacting, right? So it's like
One episode, one show is a year. That's reaction, right?
Yeah,
That's what
so
it is.
I don't know. Funny enough though, while you were gone, I was on Amazon one day for something. Instagram does this thing to me. I don't know if it does it to you, where specifically Amazon ads, it'll put the most random things in the ads to the point that I'm like, I have to click this because I need to know what it is. It doesn't explain what it is. It's just like there was like a whale toy that looked like the male sexual appendage, and I'm like, or no, sorry, a dog toy. I'm like, wait, what's that? And they're like, it's a whale tail. I'm like, what the? Anyways, one day it came up as like, I forget which Disney Plus show, but it was Star Wars. Let's say it was Ahsoka on Blu-ray, and I was like, whoa. So I clicked on it, and I'm like, wow, Blu-ray. And not that we knew like they put Mando and Andor and Book of Boba Fett on Blu-ray. Did that happen? They
Boba
released
Fett.
something. Boba Fett.
Mando and Andor for sure.
So like they released those. So it's like the concept like wasn't foreign. It's like, yeah, I know it. But I went on to that page and I went down and there was so many, like Bad Batch, the entire series, Ahsoka for sure, Mando, the different seasons, Andor, and I think Resistance, the entire 2 seasons or something like that. And I'm like, and I had a moment where I'm like, should I own these? And I'm like, whoa. It was
legit, or were they like third party? Like,
I think it was legit. I mean, I didn't dive that deep into it, but like I was like, wow. And it was like all because like you pick something and it's like you might also like this, right? I was like in a row. I'm like, wow. And my like 20 something reaction in my head was like, need to buy all these. I'm like, no, you don't. Calm down.
and show them off on the podcast.
Yeah. I don't know. I was like, wow.
I had no idea that I knew that was Mando 1 and 2 and Andor is what I knew. I don't know how many I buy. I don't have Disney Plus anymore, so I have to look into possibly picking those up. Them and just make them one long movie. I'd be way more inclined to get them if I didn't have to stop. What was I watching? Shows though. I was like when I was away, I didn't turn on the TV much, but I did one night because Selena had to sleep early. And I was like, I'll put on the TV and see what's up. And there's not a lot of TV where I stay, like channels where I stayed, but there was a lot of channels. Like on TV in a hotel, I wasn't in a hotel, but you used to get like 4 channels. Now there's like 400,000. None of them are good, but there's like 400,000 of them. I was like, jeez. I watched Beverly Hillbilly and Matt and not Malik and Andy Griffith show on
and I had to walk up the hill in the snow all the way to school.
One year, I used to love for some reason putting the TV on in hotel rooms. That was like my thing when I was a kid, like 8, 9.
Yeah,
and I'd be like, turn on the TV. And one year we went to Florida. It was in like July, and we stayed in a hotel on the way there and on the way back, and then we went somewhere else, and I turned it on there, and A Christmas Story was on every time I turned on the TV. It was A Christmas Story, and it was July, and I was like, what is going on? And then I think the next time we went out was like in August, and I was like, I'm going to turn on the TV, and I turned on. It was A Christmas Story again. I'm like, what is this movie on all the time in the summer? So I didn't get that this trip. I only got Andy Griffith and Beverly Hillbillies. Oh, and Green Acres. The Me TV, man. I was like, what
channel were you watching? Good
it was
gosh.
it was called Me TV. There were like all these channels. I watched the baseball game and it ended because it's the West Coast, so like the time is so like I don't know how they live there. Like everything's over and it's like dinner time. And you're like, well, sports are done. So I watched like a random Dodgers game because Selena had to go to bed early and I had to stay like after, right? So I was like, I'll just watch TV. And and then so I was just scrolling and Family Feud was on like a lot. and I felt like watching. I only watched it once. I'm saying like I'm making it sound like it was like I did it every day. It was I think one day I watched the Dodgers game and then some. And I love MeTV. There you go, MeTV.
Anyways,
Never heard of it until a week ago.
I don't know. Anyway, I can't even remember how we got on this topic, but yeah, I don't know. Star Wars. I don't. It's like they don't want to make money. I don't really understand the concept.
I will say this: they can't like. I understand the streaming thing where they're like limit streaming. I think they should limit the budget on the streaming shows more so than the
Sure.
shows.
Yeah.
And then maybe sell some damn merchandise to go with it. Because if like what you're saying though is like they don't want to make money. There hasn't been a movie in the theater for 5 years.
Yeah.
Four out of 5 movies in the Disney era made over $1 billion.
Yep.
The sequel, and it was a movie itself that pretty much everybody hated, made over $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like you could, like you said, slap the name on Star Wars. If the Accolade was in the theater, it probably would have got a lot of hate, but it would have made a lot of money. A lot of money. And if they would have spent the same budget on it, like $180 million, they would have made a ton of money on it. And maybe we were talking about getting an Accolade sequel, but instead we're talking about it getting canceled because the show that you don't have, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, it doesn't really make sense. I've been watching tons of new movies, James. I just watched the new, Desi, that's happening for me. That's why I'm like, so I just watched the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, Trap. Stop, M. Night, stop. Trap. But specifically, I'm like, I gotta watch at least the first 30 minutes because this is shot outside the Rogers Center. Like I know the entire first like 20 minutes. I'm like, I've been there. I'm like, that's gate 7. That's gate 9. That's gate.
Yeah, I know. That's Aaron. I really did too. Yeah.
The movie is fine. The movie I had no expectations for because it's like M. Night has a certain style, but I was like, they shot this in more than half of that movie was shot in just 2 locations. And then it was a bunch of just places around Milton and Toronto, Mississauga, and I'm like, this movie was fine, like, and it's less than 2 hours, and I'm like, great, perfect. I was engaged the entire time. Maybe people won't like it, but it's just like they did that, and they shot that in Toronto because of the SAG strike. So it's like Star Wars has no excuse for not shooting something. Granted, the SAG union, the actor union, the writers strikes, all that. Those people deserve to get paid extra because these movies make, like we just said, $1 billion, and they don't like get full compensation. But it's just like there are ways to still shoot movies. Like there's no excuse for like, oh, it was COVID, oh, it was a strike. Like make a movie, make the freaking movie. I don't know. I feel like we're going in circles now.
Watched Trap too. We watched Trap. I thought it lost its way towards the end, but I was like, and I heard, so a lot of people told me it was very bad. So my expectation was like, let's see.
Exactly.
So I went in and I'm like, I kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I thought Josh Hartnett his crazy eyes were crazy, man.
Yeah.
And I like M. Night Shyamalan. I've never been a massive fan of. Like, I really like, I like Signs until the ending. I thought Signs was great. And then the ending, I'm like, eh. So I'm glad he doesn't like do that stuff anymore. But like, I thought this thing was shot wonderfully too. I love the cinematography in it. I was like, this is great. Like, I mean, the movie itself is not great. It's a fine movie. Like it was enjoyable, and like you said, it was short, and it kind of like it kept us entertained the whole time. And it lost. I think it did. I would say it lost its way towards the end. But again, like they shot this thing so fast. His daughter wrote the songs. It's like, and yet you can't make a Star Wars movie. And that movie was, I think, Trap was pretty successful. It had a great trailer though. Trap had a great trailer.
Yeah, it did. and like more like really what the show just felt like a very long Black Mirror episode. Really, like not that it used the technology to whatever. It was just a guy that's crazy. But I was like, that was good. I would watch that on a plane, no problem. It's easy. And like Beetlejuice 2 is like that. So I'm like, and Twisters. I'm like, I'm at a point where like I think that's the problem. It's just like Star Wars and like the Marvel movies, they all have to be like, wow, I can't believe that. You have to go in being psyched and you have to come out even more psyched. And now it's just like, but why? Why? Like it's just, like I'm more than happy to watch somebody's interpretation of something. And it's like that might work. It might not. Who knows?
Exactly. I think I it wasn't my favorite. I liked where it ended, like I said, and I liked Chimera, the Stranger.
Hmm.
But I don't think it worked. I just didn't. I think there's a lot of I didn't. But I did appreciate that they tried something, and I liked what they were trying to do with the witches and how the witches viewed the Force. But I just don't think it worked. I don't think they pulled it off well. But I appreciated what they were trying to do, and I liked the way the Jedi were like, you know, beginning of the end of it. I think it might be 100 years. Might be a little too. Might be a long. They'll really play the long game on that. But like I like seeing that stuff. So it's like they swung and missed on that one. But it was whatever. It's fine. And I do hope though that even though season 2 is not going to happen, that some of these characters,
Yeah.
like it's Chimera, like don't Kira Chimera. Maybe there's a curse, Brock, on
Oh,
Q,
the Q name.
QI, on the QI names. But don't keep this going. He was great in the role. She was great in the role too, and just do something with them. Like they exist. They're there. Unless they delete the show on Disney, they're there. So do something with them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. Shall we go to the odds?
Act Black in this one. Yes. No, we're gonna go to your interview first before the
Oh,
odds.
yeah. Sorry. I thought it was after the odds. All right. Coolio. So I'll cue this up. We already posted this, but we're going to put it in this episode because we didn't really talk about it. So we went to Fan Expo and got the opportunity to talk to Michael Hirsch, one of the co-founders of Nelvana Animation, which is like huge deal in Canada if you're growing up as a kid in the 90s. We just talked about Beetlejuice cartoon. Nelvana was the one that created that. And like for James and I, like that was how we were introduced to like Beetlejuice. And when you watch that movie, it's very jarring because it's like Beetlejuice and Lydia are like friends in that. But they made Care Bears. They made I think I'm not sure. I couldn't understand like they made Arthur or like were like part of the Arthur animation. Then like Babar, Little Bear. More importantly, why we were there to interview them was the faithful Wookiee from the Christmas special, Ewoks and Droids. So we got to interview him, Michael Hirsch, Canadian. So here we go, shall we, James?
How did your panel turn out today?
I thought the panel was great. It was really a good group of people with good questions, and always happy to meet fans of the work.
So, Rebel Scum podcast, we talk about everything Star Wars, especially from the original trilogy, and we talk about the Christmas special all the time. My co-host James and I, we both talk about droids and Ewoks on a regular basis. So, first of all, Faithful Wookiee is an interesting cartoon short. It's beautiful. My first question, and I'm sure you fielded this a million times, what was it like collaborating with Lucasfilm that early on in the history of Star Wars?
It was fantastic. So, my book, Animation Nation, begins with the story of flying out to San Francisco to meet with George to land the show. And that itself was a trip because Lucasfilm was operating in Marin County. And this was 1978. We were in the middle of producing a show called The Devil and Daniel Mouse. So we were like really busy. But the opportunity to work with Lucas meant we were prepared to figure out how to do more than the studio had ever done. And we had a very short timeline from George. George had seen our short called A Cosmic Christmas, which was on American TV at the time. And that's what caused him to think about using us to do The Faithful Wookiee. And The Faithful Wookiee was an exciting project because it was the only part of the 2-hour special that George himself was very engaged in, right? And he got to choose the company that did it and was happy with that. And so when I flew out to meet him, I knew that this was a huge leap for our company because we had just produced our first half-hour special, and he was the successful director-producer of American Graffiti as well as Star Wars. And so, I was meeting a hero, and that's always exciting. And one of the things about George was he really knew what he wanted. He didn't sort of overwork things. He would look at a storyboard for this 10-minute cartoon, and after seeing it once, would identify the 2 changes he wanted. Interestingly, when we went over the board with him, we told him that we thought because the short was going to be in the 2-hour holiday special, that we needed a little introduction, because originally it was going to begin without that sort of Star Trek homage that begins the short. And so he then went into another room and quickly wrote the narration. And that was great because the short had been written by Joe Johnson, who's, he later became a director himself, was a great designer. And, what's great too is that having worked with George on this, he became a mentor while we were doing our first animated feature, Rock and Rule. And then when it came time to do his first series, Ewoks and Droids, he remembered us and came back to us. So, so we felt really great about the relationship. And our studio really got plussed working with George's sound people, George's designers, George's production talent group. And so I think Nelvana grew in leaps and bounds because of that engagement.
Now, like, the Christmas special is like one of the most infamous Star Wars properties. It's after the fact, like in your cartoon the short is in there, and it's the introduction of Boba Fett, one of like the most popular characters, right? Like almost immediately after Empire Strikes Back, and now we have Book of Boba Fett. We see him live action. He's talking. After the Christmas special came out and became what it did you ever expect something like that to be so infamous? And did it ever has like Faithful Wookiees, it's a separate thing, but like how did the reception of the Christmas special hit you?
So we were disappointed with the original reception because there was huge disappointment by the variety show. But we knew that people liked the cartoon, and George really liked the cartoon. And the fact that it later became famous for introducing Boba Fett was interesting because when my first meeting with George, which happened at his house, at the end of the meeting, he said, "And you're going to get to introduce Boba Fett." And that's when I knew we had landed the show. And of course, nobody knew who Boba Fett was at that point. He had not yet appeared in the Star Wars universe, but he existed in George's mind and Joe Johnston's mind. And then, one of the interesting things too is that the only design that existed for Boba Fett's costume that we were given was 16 millimeter black and white footage of an actor walking around in the costume because he had just been created. And so we had to design him from that film footage.
Well, I like the Christmas special. I like Faithful Wookiee, but really what I'm a fan of is Ewoks. As you can see, I got my shirt on. Ewoks and Droids. That show, like, for a long time, I thought I was the only one that ever watched it because it was like I never talked about any of that with my friends because, back in the day, it's like unless it was hugely popular, you didn't talk about it. Obviously, you had a great relation with George Lucas. What created that desire for those two shows to exist, Droids and Ewoks?
So George had finished with the first trilogy, and I think he was not sure what his plan was for the next group of films yet. And he wanted to keep the toy line alive. And so he had this idea of doing a show featuring R2-D2 and C-3PO. He described them as the Laurel and Hardy of the Star Wars universe. and he thought that would be fun. And they also, this was the beginning of video, home video. And so he wanted to create 4 episode arcs for droids where he would sell like a droids movie consisting of 4 of the episodes pre-cut. Stuart Copeland from the Police, the music group, the Police, did the music score and the song. And the idea was we couldn't use the other Star Wars characters because George was not sure what his plan was for them exactly, right? He was working that out. So we had to create new characters, etc., which is why every 4 episodes there are new heroes and villains, etc. One of the things that's exciting about droids is how funny R2-D2 and C-3PO are and how they make great comic foils for the story.
So I grew up in Canada. Obviously, Fan Expo is my convention I come to every year. I grew up with Nelvana cartoons and like Babar, as you see on your lapel there, Little Bear, Franklin, Care Bears, Beetlejuice. Like it's just never ending. Like I love looking at your IMDb and seeing all the projects you've worked on. Now a lot of that is geared towards children. When you got into storytelling and animation, was that always the goal for talking to the youth and trying to educate the youth, or did that just sort of come about organically?
Well, it was the natural home for animation, but over time we always wanted to stretch that audience. And so we were always pushing the envelope on how to do that. And so animation became even more exciting when Simpsons broke out, right? But doing the Star Wars property really also was one of the things that helped, and doing Beetlejuice, because while both of those were for kids, they were for everybody.
Now you have your book here, Animation Nation. Obviously, can you give us a synopsis of what the book is about?
Yeah, so the book basically starts with us getting the Star Wars project for Faithful Wookiee. It goes back, and I talk about my childhood and my growth as a person. I started as an experimental filmmaker, and eventually grew the idea of starting an animation company with friends, and started Nelvana. And interestingly, Nelvana came from a great Canadian comic book from World War II called Nelvana of the Northern Lights. And we were a patriotic company here in Toronto building the animation industry, which did not exist, and eventually spreading it around the world. So we really had this global sense of animation and working around the world. Ewoks, we didn't talk about Ewoks. So one of the fun stories about Ewoks was we had Taj Mahal, the music artist, doing the opening title for the first season of Ewoks, and he had delivered a rough that was really rough. And he has a very gravelly voice. The network was begging Lucasfilm to sweeten it. And so we eventually, I went to Hawaii where Taj Mahal had his studio where he lived. It was just an 8-track studio to do the final recording and the sweetening of the track. And Taj didn't show up. And so basically, I was meeting with the engineer and said, well, look, we got to sweeten this. What do we do? Is there anybody around who can sing on this? And he said, well, if you go to the local hotel, there'll be some Hawaiian, singers who sing in that Hawaiian style, and, see if they'll come back and do it. So I went there with my Lucasfilm producer, Mickey Herman, and we brought back a couple of singers, and we were recording them, and Taj walked in, nonchalant, liked what he was hearing, and then he re-recorded his version, his vocal. And we ended up with that final track. But it's a unique sort of theme song for a show. And Ewoks was a lot of fun because while Droids was aimed at boys, Ewoks was a little more aimed at girls, because properties in those days were either boy properties or girl properties. That's changed over time. But in those days, it still was very segmented.
So the book sounds like it's full of like behind the scenes stories from your life. Is there anything you think that readers will take away about animation, about life, once they read this book?
Yes. So I've always encouraged people who are interested in animation to do it. And today, because of the strength of YouTube and the strength of TikTok and other social networks, you can make shorts, put them on YouTube. There's no curator. You can build an audience and have an audience that builds up to the point where you can then go mainstream with your property. And I've done that with a few properties, being Puppy Cat and Bravest Warriors, both of which I did at Frederator while running WoW Unlimited Media, which was a company I started after Nelvana and was the last company that I ran.
Michael, thank you so much for your time. It's truly an honor to meet a legend yourself. That story about the theme song to Ewoks, like that lives rent free. That song lives rent free in my head. So like it's really cool to hear the origins of it.
Great.
Right.
Anyway, thank you so much for a great interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, never tell me odds.
The probability of successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,720 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
Never Tell Me the Odds, brought to everyone by patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. If you like what we do, why don't you head on over to Rebel Scum Podcast and support us in any way you can. We can get some juicy content ahead of time, I believe. Just like we try to put out the extra stuff just to keep people engaged. And you know what, our mantra, we just want to talk about Star Wars constantly. And we thank all the wonderful people, some of who are here today in the chat, that love to support us. And we thank them from the bottom of our heart. And those people are Heidi Feder, executive producer, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Randy Kenobi, Mary Kristen Aton, Dale Erdman, Phil Stanforth, Rez, Scott D,
Josh Price, Matt W, Frank Perk. Sorry. Neil Lowry, Cosmic Girl 02, Gleek Play 1, Den of Nerds, Disney Desi, Charlotte, Ron Pasak, and Jeff Wilson.
Did you switch back to the not working?
To read the names off my phone.
Oh,
but then I had the audio of me was coming through. It was coming through here, so I was hearing myself like on a delay. It was like,
anyways,
we'll be back. We'll be back next week with a flawless podcast.
Anyways, thank you to all those people for supporting us. And what are the odds today, James?
Do
you want me to just read them? Because I do have access to my email.
You should probably read them.
Oh my god. Okay, James. Never tell me the odds. Ahsoka season 2 will have a definitive ending.
Better. I'm gonna go 77% on this one because I think they need to have one. Need to have one. I really do. I think with all the issues of everything going on, I think they need to show that they can. Criticism of that show from a lot of people was that it just kind of stopped. So I think Solo's coming in with a 0%.
Yeah, I think I'll go. I would hope 80%. Like I don't know. Like it's always great to like leave an opening, so it's like, well, if people want to watch more, we can do it. But like, I think they need to stop doing that open ending, like where it's like, oh, but that's not all. Like, no, just end the story, and if people like it, then you can make another one. So, I hope it's a ending that people like. That's what I hope. All right, so ready for the next odd?
Our next odd
Never tell me the odds. Andor's sister will be someone crucial to the overall Star Wars storyline.
Leia? Is that what you're saying? The Andor sister's Princess Leia?
No, the sister character. The woman that is in Hitman.
I'm gonna go 11%. 11%. I think she is important to the Andor story. I don't think she's important to the overall Star Wars story. I think.
Oh, that's a weird question. The overall Star Wars storyline? Yeah, 0%. I don't think that's a very strange way of phrasing that. I didn't actually compute that as I read it.
Into like the Skywalker stuff, and to be like stuff like that. Like, is Ahsoka, like, is she going to be a part of any of that? Like, Mon Mothma shows up in other stuff, right? Like, is she going to be a part of other stuff?
Gonna go no. Gonna go 0%.
I think there's a chance. I think Tony Gilroy is in his own little bubble, and what he makes is what he makes.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and our final odd: Obi-Wan Kenobi will return to live action. Did you hear that? Hello? What? Right. Oh,
Full Brock.
okay, there we go. Full Brock on that one? Okay, gotcha.
Full Brock.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, you have Ewan McGregor and you have his wife. Why not? But also, I don't know. I feel like I wasn't one that needed the Kenobi show. Like, I'm satisfied with Kenobi, so I'm okay if they just put him to rest.
I'm gonna go full Brock on that. Put up what Skywalker's Academy wrote. He mouthed full Brock. You know what? I'm gonna go full Brock too, because it's just like I'm sure they could try to get him to come back, but you may be like, do we really need to go back? But I mean, when that show ended, we were like, oh, wouldn't it be cool? The second season was just him talking to a Qui-Gon ghost. Like, I totally watch that.
Yeah, I think you know what they should do? They should do Star Wars shorts, like just like a short film. Here's Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon chatting, and you have Ewan McGregor. You pay him like $5,000 or whatever. Qui-Gon Jinn, you pay him like $5,000, and you just show it. And then I'm gonna watch it. You're gonna watch it. We're all gonna watch it, and it's gonna be satisfying because it's gonna be a one-off little short thing. And I think like The Simpsons do them masterfully. I find.
Yeah.
When I watch those ones. And so I don't know why they don't utilize that. Like, why does everything have to be an 8-part series? Can it just be like a one-off, like 10-minute thing, 5-minute, whatever? Just show me like that Grogu animated short from last year that they did from Studio Ghibli. Like, why not that? Just give us little things like that more, you know? So I don't know.
Yeah, or just even if you don't want to go to the trouble of shooting something, just animate it, but get the actual actors' voices, right? So get Ewan McGregor to be Obi-Wan, not I forget who does Matt. Is it Matt Lanter that does Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, or D. Bradley Baker?
So you're thinking of
is that Anakin?
Yeah, Anakin. Now I can't remember Obi-Wan's name. Great. Dale, what's his name?
But anyways, you know what I mean. Like, it's just like, you're right. It's just, you have the platform and you're Disney. Like, just pay the money you're gonna use anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah. We just need a lot more Heidi's around, because I agree with her. It's like, we just watched a movie or watched a show and I was fine. I like it. I'll come back next week. That's what everyone needs to be. And then we just go from there. I
like the one thing with Acolyte that I really enjoyed was watching Star Wars every week.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I have a show to look forward to every week. That I enjoyed.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's just hope. I mean, the Skeleton Crew, it has a really strong first trailer. You just deliver magic like that every episode. It doesn't matter what happens in the story. I'll be like, I'm engaged. I think people just want to watch things. That's it.
Yeah, like I agree. I totally agree, and I definitely want. I'm looking forward to it a lot. I think that show has a lot of promise.
Yeah.
All right, whether or not it lives up to it, who knows? But it has a lot
Yeah,
of
we'll see.
I would like to see a pod racing series, a story of one racer's rise. I would watch that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
100%. But
Like they tried to do that in Resistance, kind
Yeah.
of. Like, and it wasn't a bad idea. It's just, they didn't go deep into it. So I still think it'd be a great idea.
yeah. All right, you got the news?
I got nothing. So let's just go to the top 5.
All right, top 5. Oh, my top 5 are written on my phone. All right, top 5. Top 5 Star Wars characters that would make great teachers, Brock. Top 5 Star Wars characters that would make great teachers.
See, I struggled with this one because it's very easy just to select 5 Jedi, right? Who are great teachers.
Yeah, you got to have fun with it. I'll tell you who my number 5 is. And maybe
Okay.
Hondo.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good.
I love Hondo. Hondo is my number 5. James Arnold Taylor voiced Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Gotcha.
I just said, I think I sent it to you. I might not have. He voices a lot. He voices a lot of characters on a lot of stuff, and he's great at it. Like some of them, I was shocked it was him. I'm like, oh, what? So, thanks, Dale, for that. All right, Brock. Hondo is my number 5. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is gonna be Yoda. I'm just like, no doy. So yeah.
My number 4, Mace, because he would be like, have a seat, like take a seat, and he'd be like, this party is over. Like he would be a stern teacher, and I would hate to be in that classroom.
My number 4 is gonna be Pelimoto as like as a what do you call that? What's that class where they work on cars? Auto class? Auto repair? Like in high school, what would they call that?
It was just auto. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, that would be fantastic, and like everyone just takes her class because she's crazy, and they're like, I don't care about fixing things. I just want to hear the random things that come out of that teacher's mouth. Auto shop, thank you. We're Canadians.
Number 3, C-3PO. He'd be like a great kindergarten teacher, like a little. He'd be great though, but he knows everything, and he could be a linguistics teacher also. Like you pick a language and he could teach it to you. So I'm going to go through C-3PO.
This is maybe a cop out, but you got to give it up for librarians. I'm gonna go
nice.
Jocasta New as the school librarian. Like,
perfect.
She's a Jedi, but like not really. I mean, and she gets put in comics and stuff, but like she was just sort of like, I work here. I'm the admin staff.
It's a good one. I like that one. My number 2, he will teach you all about DP the Wise, the CVP, the teacher that you need to teach you all about the dark side of the Force.
DP was a terrible, terrible choice there.
DP,
yeah.
DP.
Not bad. I want to do a droid. C-3PO is a good one. I don't know. Most of my favorite droids are like the astromech droids you can't understand.
One from Ahsoka. The one from Ahsoka would be
that wouldn't be good. Yeah, but I can't name the name, so I'm like, my number. Sorry, are we on 3 or 2? We're on 2 now. 2. My number 2 is going to be Chewbacca as the science teacher. I don't know, the biology teacher in the forest. Or maybe like a kindergarten teacher that are like, let's go out into the woods and collect leaves and then put them on. It's like, look at this leaf. Grow seeds on the windowsill.
My number 1, Yoda.
I mean, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
He is the teacher of all teachers.
My number one will be the Bindu as the
Yes.
guy
Oh,
that's
perfect. Love it. Yeah. I'm the one in the middle.
Fantastic.
I found a way to watch to stay with my camera on and read my notes on my phone at the same time.
It just took 54 minutes.
I found the loophole in the StreamYard bubble. No, sorry about the technical difficulties, everyone. Has been you know what? Maybe I should have stayed on vacation. Maybe that's maybe that's what we should have done. Stayed on vacation. Okay, gonna go on vacation. Bye.
Bye. Oh.
Hey, I'm joking.
Remember when you did that to Andrew like 3 times in one episode?
Our 300th episode, I think it was. Yeah.
Fantastic.
All pre-planned. We discussed that in advance with him, and he was all cool with it. Yeah, I don't know. One Star Wars show a year doesn't sound that bad to me because that's one more than we got for all of my life up until Disney Plus existed. So, can't complain.
All right, what an episode.
We knocked this one out of the park. I'm very excited to hear the opening when it was just you and I wasn't around because my computer went belly up.
It was like, you know that scene in Wayne's World where there's no Wayne and it's just Garth? It's basically that. I'm like, I don't even know what we're talking about.
I heard you for a little bit, and then I went too far, and my Bluetooth went bloop bloop, and so I couldn't hear you anymore until I came back and I had to reconnect and stuff. And it sounded like it was going well.
Yeah. Booyah.
I'm just reading the chat. I have to read off of different monitors now to see. So. All right. Well, this has been fun. We're going to come back on Thursday, Brock. Thursday night.
Yep.
Flawless Execution Thursday night. Sorry for all. Again, it was. We'll delete this one from Disney Plus for sure.
What did we get?
We'll delete it. 334 never happened. All right. Anything else you want to say?
I want to say happy birthday, Selena Razile. That's coming up.
Tomorrow.
2 years old. Wow, that's crazy. Wish I could be there, but then also I was not invited to a birthday party.
No, we're not doing a birthday party.
No birthday party. No, that's fine.
There's no birthday party. We decided we didn't want to do it to like grandparents and aunts and uncles. We didn't want. Last year we invited the entire planet over. This year, no, nothing big. She's a terrible twos have hit. Don't worry, the terrible twos are real. They are here, and she is. Selena, do you want to? No. Okay, we're gonna no. And then she gives you this look, and she like laughs in your face. And today she had a nap today, so I went to go get it. And we took her crib, so her crib's not a crib anymore. It's like half a crib, and half like we took it down, and so I'm like, okay, I come together. So I opened the door and the window and everything, get the light on in there. And I don't know why, but I was like, oh, we have to change the diaper. So I got a diaper and I laid there. We're potty training too, which is a lot of fun, by the way. It's so much fun, potty training. And then I laid down for some reason and she slides out of her little bed and body slams me. Like just comes and like jumps right on me with the most evil laugh you have ever heard from a baby in your life. Just, and I was like, what are you doing? And so, yeah, she's going to be a wrestler when she's older. But thank you for that. I'll let her know that you said that for sure.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Selena.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. So, good night, everybody.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Give us a like and a subscribe. And Heidi, thank you so much for the super chat. I will use that to buy a microphone for sure. I don't know if I can plug this into the phone, though. Can I? Does it work in the phone?
Maybe. Probably not.
It didn't, like, the options on StreamYard doesn't seem to have it. So, has my mic muted the last little while?
It's been better the last little bit. I think it's like when you're not loud enough, it like mutes it, right?
Yeah, so weird. All right, anyway, sorry. We'll be back bigger and better than ever. Brock, you were always scum.
Rebel Scum.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.